Yes, 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 yes. What is going on, my peoples? If you are joining, welcome. We are talking about love. I've not done a thumbnail yet. I feel like this is a bit too loud. How's it sounding? Are you hearing the vibes? The missus says great vibes. Always to have you on, babe. So what's going on? How was your day? How was your morning, your afternoon, and your evening so far? I'll try and make this live this evening a little bit romantic. I'm not really choosing the tunes like that. I've just got it on autoplay. But let's see. We're talking about love because everybody is celebrating love. Well, maybe not everyone, but lots of people are celebrating love today because it's Valentine's Day in your calendar around the world. And for me, it's not really about, showing love on one day, but to show love to yourself and to others all year round, all week round, all month round. Isn't it? I think so. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Well, so my tea is too hot for me to start drinking straight away. So I'm going to ease down on the tea, let it cool down a little bit, and then we'll start. So enjoy the tunes, chill out, relax, and then we'll get going. Also, tonight I'm actually streaming straight from YouTube rather than StreamYard, and I'm okay with how it looks. I'm really okay without it. Whoa. Hey. A comment just came through, and you have just made my 8:47, my brother. Vitali, I hear that. Must be fun wishing happy V-Day to yourself, though. It is funny. It is funny. You gotta love yourself, man. You gotta love yourself. Show love to yourself. If no one else wants to love you, you gotta love you, right? You gotta show love to yourself. There is no love like self-love. I can't think of any other cliche stuff to say. You guys got any cliche stuff people say around Valentine's Day, or cliche stuff we say about love? But Vitaly, it's good to see you. I was talking about you yesterday. Yesterday? What's today? Wednesday? Monday. Monday or Tuesday, I was talking about Vitaly, one of my favorite editors to work with. One of my favorite creative people to work with. And general cool dude. Yeah, man. How are things going? How are you? How is life, work, and love? Is that a thing that we ask? We don't ask how is play. How is life? How is love? How's work? How are things? So we're talking about love, right? And we said we're going to love ourselves. As you can see, the tea has started, so the life has started. When the tea ends, the life ends. So can I show this? I can share screen. Let's see if I can show it. Let's see if I can show it. Let me. All right. So let me figure this out. Oh, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it though. Uni and editing going great. I do have a GF now, so I can relate to this convo. What? Hey, does your mum know you have a girlfriend? I'm joking. Oh, that's sweet. You know what? Love is sweet, man. It's good. It's good to have someone that you can share your life with. So that's always the good stuff. And I wish you all the best in your relationship. And I hope it all goes well now and in the future. I'm not going to try and give you any relationship advice. I think I'm kind of qualified though. I think I might be kind of qualified to give some relationship advice, but I always say to people, you know, take advice, but make your decision. You know, do what's best for you. Yeah, but I'm slightly qualified to give. I think everyone's qualified in some way to give relationship advice because we've all had relationships. But yeah, I was talking to Tiff about this on Tuesday. Was I talking to Tiff about it? Or was I talking to someone else? I don't know. Was I talking to myself? I don't know. But I was saying we can write a book because we're going to be married 10 years this year. 10 years this year we'll be married. 10 whole years. Tiffany says, we've got the perfect marriage. And of course she would say that because I'm the perfect man. So, you know, obviously I'm doing something right, guys. Obviously I'm doing something right. I'm going to click 100 in the thing here. I didn't know I could do this on a live. Anyways, so I'm going to try and show you this video. And I'm a little bit snuffly this evening. I don't know what's going on. My nose is itchy. All right, so let's see if this works. All right, so it's loaded there. Also share audio tab. Brilliant. Okay, watch this video. Let's turn this one down.
And then ambassadorship out the ass. Let's
refresh. Here we go.
Lewis, it's looking like $100 million a year, right?
Yes.
And then ambassadorship out the ass. That's the other thing, right? He wanted to be like an emeritus ambassador for Mercedes. And they said no.
Yeah.
They said no. They didn't
Yeah.
want Lewis Hamilton representing them until 2035.
It's crazy. He should own a piece of the company. He should have stock
Yeah.
in the goddamn company. He should be a part owner.
Ferrari was like, they're not only going to pay him $100 million a year, but John Elkann proposed a $400 million investment in Lewis's initiatives like Mission 44. And they're going to make him an ambassador for Ferrari because they understand having Lewis, how much did their stock
Yeah,
go up?
the stock went up 10% today, which adds $10 billion to Ferrari's market cap.
It's already paid for itself and then some. However much
Exactly.
money they gave them,
Yes.
$500-600 million, it's already paid for itself. It's like the best
Right.
investment they've ever made.
Yes.
Even if they never win, they've made so much money. Honestly, they underpaid Lewis. It looks Lewis is going to look at this and be like, I should have asked him.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting conversation on someone else's podcast. And someone sent this to me talking about knowing your worth and knowing what you're worth. And if you want to do something or work with people, if you want to do something and they don't see what you're seeing or they don't understand what you're trying to explain, then you just got to move on because you know your worth, right? By the end of that little clip there, it sounded like he didn't know what he was worth because, you know, the amount that Ferrari made, seems to be like quite significant just as a result of him doing, making his deal. I don't know what you guys think about that. I don't know what you guys think about Lewis Hamilton going over to Ferrari. I think it's quite interesting. But I'm not here to talk too much about that. But that conversation made me think about us actually knowing and appreciating our worth and being around people that actually appreciate us. You know, sometimes you have friends and you're in relationships and you don't realize whether it's toxic or it's not good for you or whatever. But it's so important to be around people that appreciate you and who are willing to have your back. Now, I don't know what happened in those conversations between Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes and Ferrari, but, you know, it's turned out like it looks like Ferrari really appreciate Lewis, the brand, Lewis, the person, and what he can bring to their team. So that was really interesting. Have you ever done something? Have you ever, for the entrepreneurs, the side hustlers, have you ever got yourself a gig, for the creatives as well? Have you ever got yourself a gig and you charged X amount and the person you're charging says, yes, let's do it, let's go. And you sit back and you think, man, I wish I charged more. Has that ever happened to you? If you're not an entrepreneur, side hustler, or a creative, maybe you've gone for a job interview and you've agreed to the salary. So the salary is between X and Y, and you've gone closer to X than Y, right? And you're like, man, I wish they asked for more. Or you go and you ask for a raise. And you're like, I want an X amount of percentage raise. And your manager or HR, whoever says yes. And you're like, oh, I wish I asked for more. Have you ever said that? Does that resonate with anyone? Because I know I've had that a few times. Had that a few times in my business. So yeah, it's really important to actually know what you're worth. It's really important to know what you're worth. And I think it's about knowing what you can offer to a relationship, to an agreement, to a contract, to a business, to a person, and also knowing what others can offer you. What's the benefit of being in this relationship with you, right? Yeah, those are my thoughts. And it's about experience, expertise, and exposure, I think. I think it's about experience, expertise, and exposure. So, experience. I made some notes. And there are some questions. Obviously, there are questions. We have to ask questions. That's what we do. We ask questions. Because when you ask questions, you get answers. Or answers. Do you have the experience to do the job and do it well? And this could be for anything. Do you have the experience to do something well? Do you have the experience to be a good human being, right? And be good at being in a relationship? Maybe not, maybe yes. The question is for you to consider. And the second thing, expertise. Will you be the guide, or do you need to be guided? Will you be the guide, or do you need to be guided? And I think these kind of things could help us to understand how we are perceived by others, or how we are perceived by the other party that we're engaging with. And the third one, exposure. It's the triple E threat, baby. Exposure. Will your involvement benefit the other party more than it will benefit you? Will your involvement benefit the other party more than it will benefit you? How much exposure will you bring the brand? Will you bring the company? Exposure could be exposure in terms of awareness, brand awareness, and it could just be what are you going to expose them to, or who are you going to expose them to? Yeah. How much exposure will you bring the brand versus how much exposure will the brand bring you? And when I say brand, it could be a company, it could be a person that you're collaborating with. So I had a conversation today with a client, which is why our live started a little bit late. Whoa. I'm having some issues with this mic. I'm not sure what's going on. But I'm getting some weird sounds coming out of it. So I was having a conversation this afternoon, and I said to the client that I'm going to bring this up in my life, and I hope I tell the story properly. I hope I do it justice, because it's a great story. So we went something like this. There was a little girl, or a young woman. She had a conversation with her father, and her father wanted to show her how other people might value her and how she needs to value herself. She needs to know her worth. So I'm telling you the moral of the story before I tell you the story. Anyway, he gave this girl a watch, and he said, go to this shop and ask them how much is the worth watch. How much is the watch worth? And she went to the first shop, and from the first shop, they said it was worth £100. So she went back to her dad, and she says, this shop said it's worth £100. Then he said to her daughter, go to another shop. Went to the other shop, and the other shop said, wow, their watches like these, they go for a lot. We will give it 4,000. She went back home. She told her dad what had been said. Then her dad said, go to another shop. And at the other shop, they said, yes, I've seen lots of these watches, and we'll give you 10,000 for it. She went home. She told her dad, and the dad said, I want you to go to this final shop. She went to the final shop, and the watch was worth 100,000. So the shop owner, the person looking at the watch, said this watch was made in whenever it was, made like a long time ago, and it was made by a specialist, and there's only 10 of these that existed. So the watch is worth 100,000 because it's so rare. And the moral of the story is you need to know your worth. Sometimes we take ourselves and put ourselves in relationships and in contracts and agreements with all sorts of people who don't understand who we are, what we can bring to the table. And it's so important for us to know our worth and give our time and energy to people who are going to appreciate who we are as a person, as a human being. So know your worth, people. Know know what you're worth. You know what? Recently, I've been really thinking about my time and my energy, where I put my time and where I put my energy, and whether some people actually deserve my time and my energy. And I try not to get upset when I think of the times I've wasted time or wasted energy. And I try to learn something from it. But I think I'm thinking this way now because I'm 40 this year. I keep talking about it. I'm 40 this year, and it's like, you know, when you're younger, even if you're 21, when you were younger, when you were 10, you know, you felt like you had all the time in the world. But as you get a little bit older, maybe you have more responsibility or whatever, then it's like I have limited time, and I also have limited energy. You know, so I'm really careful and mindful of where I put my time and where I put my energy. And I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing too. For those people in your lives that are red flaggers, oh, do you guys remember that video? It was, I think it was a Jamaican woman saying, if someone does this, a red flag. Oh, good times. People on the internet are undefeated. Charismatic Chris, charismatic vibes, always speaking facts. Yes. Do you know what? I'm using YouTube Live, so I can't actually show the comments. So I'll just read them out. But actually, if you're watching, you can see the comments. CC Anderson, what is going on, my sister? That's a great story. Don't just take the first offer. That's so true. Don't just take the first offer. Now I'm preaching. Hey, you know, don't get me started, you know. Don't get me started. Be mindful about who gets access to you. I like the way you've put that. Be mindful of who gets access to you. Be mindful of who gets access to you. Love it. There's a question. I hope it's not a hard question. Do you think it's possible to be unworthy but convince yourself you are worthy to be in a certain situation? Ooh. All right, people, help me out in the comments here. That's a deep question, VB. Do you think it's possible to be unworthy but convince yourself you are worthy to be in a... Where did you get this question from? Where did you get this question from? Let me see. I think I'm not sure, because I think that if you feel like you're unworthy, then you really need to do some work and think about why you feel you're unworthy. That's my take on that. I think you need to do some work and analyze and be self-aware of where that feeling of unworthiness comes from. Because if you're unworthy and you're convinced that you're worthy, that means that you don't know that you're unworthy. And I think, yes, everyone can be worthy in some way. And I think, do you know what? So maybe, so as a human being, everyone's worthy, right? Everyone's worthy of love. Everyone's worthy of forgiveness and of respect. That's a given, right? But sometimes some people demand time from the wrong people, right? And I know I've done this to some degree. Maybe not demand time, but ask for someone's time from the wrong person. And that person might then say, actually, you're not at a place for me to give you advice that's going to help you, right? Or the right advice. So that might make me feel like I'm not worthy of this person's advice or this time, but it's just that their perspective might not be right for me at that time. I don't know what's going on with this mic, guys. Maybe it's time for me to get another one. Should I start a Patreon so I can get a new mic? Let me not say stuff like that. That's not nice. But yeah, so that's my take. What do you guys think? You have to answer your question now, VB. You have to answer your own question. Are you guys hearing that little buzzing? Or is it just me? If you're not hearing it, I'll continue. Yeah, little buzzing. All right. I don't know what's going on with this mic. Guys, I appreciate you guys for coming by. Remember, let me read out what CC said actually. We are all worthy as a birthright, but the question is, do we fulfill the 3 areas that Alex mentioned before? However, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. I love that. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. It's because it's a high quality mic. Hey, listen, it's SE, SE Electronics. SE Electronics. Guys, remember to love yourself, look after yourself, cherish all of the lessons that you've learned, cherish the people that you have in your life that's been good to you. Understand, appreciate, and forgive those people that haven't been good to you, especially if you've managed to get away from them. But above all, be safe and be kind to yourself, right? There's so much more I want to say, but I hope you have a lovely evening and you love yourself in this month of love, and you love others, and you show appreciation and gratitude for the people that you have, because that's what life is about. That's how we feel good, right? So peace in and peace out, my people. I'll see you next time next week. Take care.